So much for your work on this. This is a bill we've been looking to do for the last 3 years. It's been a passion of Representative Donnie Bell on the other side to try to establish a career coaching program in our education system. And so starting in Section 1, what this does is it's called the Comprehensive Career and Technical Education Reform Act. In Section 2, it will establish a career coaching program for middle and high school students to align academic work and work-based learning. They will be coordinating with the new Office of Workforce Development run by Accelerate in this task with MDES as a fiscal agent over this. This will allow MDE and Mississippi Community College Board to work together to align career, technical, and dual enrollment programs. In Section 4, it provides that Accelerate in consultation with MDE, along with the Mississippi Community College Board and the Mississippi State Research and Curriculum Unit, which I think is referred to a lot of times as INSPARC, shall establish a single list of nationally recognized industry certifications for use in the accountability system. Section 5 amends existing code section. It changes the average annual wage to medial state income. This was a provision Accelerate wanted to be able to include high-value entry-level jobs in the certification program, such as a nursing assistant, practical nurses, or industry maintenance technicians. The MD also on this, MD will work in collaboration with Accelerate on a report at the end of Section 5. Section 6 is a new section as well, which requires Accelerate, MD, and the same players again to work together to inventory current career, technical, dual enrollment programs to promote high-wage, high-demand training opportunities. It goes on to require that these groups work together to develop a new program, link programs and credentials, publish a list of certifications available, and review offerings and consider best practices. Section 7 requires the accountability system to include student performance on a career readiness assessment, such as the ACT Workkeys. This shall be selected by MDE in collaboration with Accelerate Mississippi. Section 8 in the bill you have in front of you is actually some language from Senator DeBar's licensure bill, Senate Bill 2423. He wanted to include this in this bill as well. That was a provision that we passed on the Senate floor, which gave teachers a supplemental endorsement, like for gifted education, by either completing coursework or taking relevant sections of the praxis exam. This section also provides that an expert citizen may have a license for 5 years instead of just 1. An expert citizen teacher must have a high school diploma, industry certification, and 5 years experience in the field in which they are teaching, but does not require a bachelor's or master's degree. That in all of the groups that have come to me has been a key thing because, and I always go to the welding example, we have excellent people out there who could teach a trade like welding or mechanics who may not have an advanced degree, and this lets them get into the workforce development in our schools to provide their expertise. An expert citizen can still be licensed if they don't have an industry certification, but they have to have the work experience, provided that the school board spreads it on their minutes while they are hiring the person. Further on in there, we have some repeat of Senator Barr's Senate Bill 2423 again, which provided reciprocity to teachers with similar licensure from other countries. And then in 1610 through 1614, that same stipulation from Senator DeBar provides that initial or renewal applications for all teacher licenses shall be granted within 21 days. I'm almost done. Section 9 requires the administration of a career readiness assessment for any student electing to take it, allowing the school district to choose to administer the test in the 10th, 11th, or 12th grade. And then Section 10 provides some other career kind of courses in this provision to include courses like technical writing, personal finance, and soft skills, and also another one called advanced technical math. That is a brief explanation of a bill we've been talking about for several years. I'm hopeful that we now have a version that both education. And I just want to, again, thank Senator Barr for his hard work on this topic for the last 3 years, and we'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Chairman Parker on the bill? Well, I just want to commend Senator Parker before we get to questions. I know you did a lot of work on this over the last few years, Senator, and I think it's a better bill than what we've had previously, and I think you deserve the credit, you and Donnie Bell, Representative Bell. So it's a good bill, but I know we have some questions. I think Senator Hill, do you have any questions?
Yeah, can you go back to lines 112 where you talked about, you put the words median state income in there. What is that actually doing?
Yeah, so right now, it changes average annual wage, which is about $41,600 for Mississippi, to the medial state income, which is only $32,710. And so by bringing that threshold down a little bit, it allows them to include some other careers that are not maybe as high paying.
Okay, I got you.
It just kind of lowers it makes it more inclusive per
Okay,
se.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions for Chairman Parker? If not, do I hear a motion? Okay. All right, we hear the motion from Senator Hill. Any further discussion and debate? Okay, ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, thank you. That will be reported.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Parker. Next up, we'll go to the top of the agenda and call up House Bill 818, and I'll recognize Senator Delano to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last year, we passed the computer science bill, and we needed to do a little bit of technical amendments to it that allowed for elementary students to be taught by certified or classified staff. That's a brief explanation of the bill, and that's all it does. It's just a technical amendment bill for the computer science bill we passed last year. I'll yield for any questions.
Senator Bryan.
Well, I'm a bit confused, but there's underlined language beginning on line 82, which says each local school district is encouraged to designate a central location to provide courses and instruction. I'm trying to figure out what that means.
That was language that was added. I believe it was at the request of MDE and also some of the school districts, so that we could encourage the school districts to have computer labs set up for the instruction of these classes, and that it's not spread out across the district itself. We wanted to make sure that each individual school was providing the technology in a centralized location.
Well, first of all, why? But are you saying that every student in a school district should come to this one particular physical location?
No, sir. Yeah, actually, what it is, it's within. Mr. Chairman, I don't understand. This is not the language that I looked at before, so I don't know where this House language came from. But it was my understanding that the school districts needed to have some additional language regarding the teachers and what the teachers, the classification for the teachers itself. I cannot speak to this at this moment, but I'll be glad to follow up with the information and provide it to each member of the committee and to the chairman.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm perfectly willing and more than happy to try to find out what this means as we go along. But since right now we're unsure of what it means, I wonder what would be the advisability of, if the committee thinks well of it, just striking that language from the bill that's before us, since we don't know what it means, and then if we need to put it back in or put some version back in, we could do that. I think the proponent of the bill nodded favorably. And so if it meets with the approval of the chair, and if it's proper, I would move to just strike the underlying language beginning on line 82. And when we get to the floor, we can revise it however we need it.
If we could, we got a representative of the department here. If Mr. Smith, Pete, do you have any information on that? I think the department was brought up. Do you have any information on that?
No, Mr. Chairman, that's new language to us as well, so it wouldn't be a problem if that language was struck.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, we can go back to Senator Bryan's amendment then. I think Senator Bryan, so you want to strike that language that we've been discussing? And you've got that, Sam? Okay. All right.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, with the understanding that if we need some version of this or some variation, we can put it back in on the floor.
That's fine. All right. Senator Delano, do you have any response to that?
No, I'd be in support of that as well.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion, debate on the amendment? Okay, ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, none. That amendment does pass. We're back on the bill. Senator Delano?
Any other questions, Mr. Chairman? There are no other questions. I'll move title sufficient to pass as amended.
Okay. You've heard the motion by Senator Delano. Ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that will be reported. Thank you, Senator Delano. Let's go to House Bill 1240 in your packet. That is a bill regarding school resource officers. If you look on line 94, basically at this point, you have to go to one location. I believe it's here in Rankin County or just up here in Jackson somewhere to get certified to be a school resource officer. I've talked to a few SROs and there's a long wait. Some have actually gone out of state to get certified. And this just allows them to get certified at any location that is accredited and certified. So that's all it does. And I'll yield for any questions. If there are none, do I hear a motion? Okay. You heard the motion by Senator McMahon. Any further discussion or debate? All right, ready to vote? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, let's go to 1168, House Bill 1168 on the agenda. That is deals with gifted education. The bill came to us from the House and it mandates that gifted education be required for 7th and 8th graders, which is a good thing. I've talked to several superintendents who have honors programs and so forth. And so what the strike all does is it recommends but does not require the 7th and 8th because the superintendents I've talked to have indicated to me that it's difficult to find the teachers or instructors that are required to do this, and they would just like some discretion to do it. I'm working with them to either get the numbers on it, and if it doesn't improve, then I'd like to see it mandated for sure as a requirement. So yield for any questions. Senator Wiggins, I think you were first.
Mr. Chairman, I just had a comment, if that's okay.
Yes.
I think I would encourage you to hold to the shall as we go forward, because I think this is a good bill. And I will go on record as saying that this state has not done all it can for our gifted students. And what the strike all I think is good, but what I hear is excuses. And I understand we have needs, or the districts have needs, but we do a lot, rightfully so, for those who are at the bottom, but we ought to be doing much more for those who are at the top. And I personally feel like they get overlooked in our state education system, and you could put that on us too. So thank you for what you're doing and your commitment to that. And I hope we can see results out of it.
Thank you, Senator Wiggins. Senator Boyd.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to thank you for making this committee sub here. In some of our districts across the state, they have actually taken it a step further. And I'm afraid this legislation might if the mandate is put in here, might take it behind. We have some school districts in our state who, instead of doing quote gifted classes, they have encouraged these students to go ahead and take higher performing STEM classes and things of that nature. So the language of what you've proposed in the committee substitute, I think helps those districts that have already been creative. They've been pushing those children that are high performing, and they're trying to push them into classes that will academically better help them and better equip them as they go into those honors classes and AP classes. So I appreciate the committee strike all that you've given, and I would encourage you to continue along that path. As I'm afraid, I'm a strong believer in gifted education. I have a child who greatly benefited from it, but I think this particular amendment with just 7th and 8th grade limits the flexibility of school districts who have been innovative and creative in trying to push those students.
I appreciate that, Senator Boyd. That's kind of what I've heard. There are districts such as yours that are doing above and beyond what the gifted program requires, and this may force them to regress in their programs. And so while I'm all for the gifted education for 7th and 8th, I just thought the strike all would benefit us to allow us to look at it during the off session and then maybe strengthen it if we have to when we come back next year. Senator Bryan.
I would just say, Mr. Chairman, that surely each of us never a problem until we had this incredibly expensive upgrade. I would just say that if anyone will talk to his or her local superintendents back home, I think it's been a mighty rough 2 years. It's been a rough 2 years for everybody. It's been a rough 2 years, students, parents, teachers. It's been rough on the superintendents too. And I just think we should be cautious in loading up too many mandates on the schools in the next year or so, that they can just manage to have a normal school year next year. I think that alone would be a great accomplishment. And it's all well and good for us to sit here and mandate things and say this would be good and do it. But I think we're about to overload our superintendents and our school districts, of course, back home.
Thank you, Senator Bryan. Point well taken. Any further questions on the bill? Any further discussion? Ready to vote? Do I hear a motion? Okay, you've heard the motion. Title sufficient do pass. All in favor, say aye. Strike all. Strike all. All right, the ayes have it. Any noes? I'm sorry. All right, thank you. All right, let's go to the next bill, House Bill 1416. It is a strike all as well. If you compare the two bills, I believe you have the original and the strike all in your packet. This one is condensed much further. Working with our attorney, we cut it down just to make sure we kept the main points in this bill. And it really is, some people call it a First Amendment bill or so forth, but basically allows students of any party to organize and to have meetings on school grounds. It basically mirrors federal law, isn't that right, Sam? And so it allows for school districts to have recourse as well. And so I will yield for any questions. Okay, if there are none, do I hear a motion? Okay, you've heard title sufficient do pass. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. All right, that is all the agenda. Hear a motion for rise and report. Rise and report.